Hey guys, and welcome to Day 3 of Kerbal Space Program! Yeah, that's right, Day 3 of Kerbal Space Program. Guys, we are going to do the third day of training in here, and we're going to get straight into it. We're going to go straight into training. So, the first day we did this one and this one, general getting started and basic flight. The second day we did intermittent construction and suborbital flight. Now we're doing advanced construction and go for orbit. So let's get on to it. Let's go to advanced construction and let's start it up. Alright, now it's loaded in and I am here. It says a lot of information. Now guys, just so you guys know, like I've said in the previous videos, I will read a little bit of maybe these pop-ups, but I won't read much. I will say that now only because a lot of people have asked, why am I not reading them, and why is it gone quiet, yeah, all that lovely things. So guys, just a reminder that some of them, if it's too long, I will let you guys read by yourself, and then we'll go on with the next step. So, guys, advanced construction. Welcome to the third and final tutorial about construction. In the advanced construction tutorial, I've had to delay some important work to fit this in. So, pay close attention as I show you how real rocket scientists make orbital craft. Go inside the VAB, so the Vehicle Assembly Building. In our last tutorial we built a vessel that could escape the atmosphere, but it didn't have enough oomph to escape for long enough. This time around we will cover more advanced rocket design concepts like multiple stages and boosters, as well as the extra parts like RCS and solar panels. You'll want these if you spend more than a few minutes in orbit. When we're done, you'll have a craft capable of ascent to orbit, orbital operations, and safe return to Kerbal, and you can test it out in the Go for Orbit tutorial, which will teach you how to make use of it all, which we'll be doing afterwards. So guys, the Go for Orbit, we'll be doing that straight after this one. You'll notice there are lots more parts available this time. That's because an orbit-capable craft is much more complex than that little puddle jumper I showed you how to make last time. However, the main principles are the same, so I hope you remember what I taught you. I kind of remember, but I don't remember fully, so let's hopefully refresh my mind. If you mess up and say somehow manage to delete your whole craft, you can hit Ctrl Z to undo your last change. I knew about that one. Again, you only have one pod available, so go ahead and select it. If you select the wrong part, click on it in the main view to pick it up and either drop it back over the parts toolbox or press delete, then try again. So we need to press this. There's the command pod. Just like last time, select a parachute and place it. Okay, so parachutes. Trying to think what parachutes came under. Was it utility? Yep. And again, like last time, adjust the parachute parameters by right-clicking on the part you just placed. When the chute minimum pressure is 0.75 and you're satisfied, click Next. 0.75. Okay, so all the way. I'm going to make altitude 2000 because I don't really like it being 1000. Next, we're now going to construct an upper stage. This upper stage will finish placing the pod in orbit, and once there, place RCS steering thrusters, and electricity for the pod. It will also provide all maneuvering capabilities in orbit, including the re-entry burn. It's going to consist of decoupler, which we don't want to carry it home, an RCS fuel tank, a liquid fuel tank, 4 RCS thrusters, 4 solar panels, 4 batteries, and an efficient upper stage engine. That's quite the shopping list, isn't it? So let me know when you're ready to proceed. Firstly, we'll add a stack decoupler below the pod to let us discard the parts we don't want to bring back with us. Grab a decoupler from the toolbox and attach it to the bottom of the pod, paying close attention so that its little red arrows are, as we discussed before, point up to make sure that the decoupler is orientated the right way. If the arrows are pointing down, that's not good. Detach it from the pod and then use W, A, S, and D to rotate it to be the right way up. Then reattach it. Okay, so we've got to get a decoupler, so we've got to go coupling. Decoupler... I'm guessing this one, the DTD. And the arrow pointing up. Oh yeah, that little arrow there. Okay. Next we'll add an RCS tank. RCS stands for Reaction Control System, and this fuel will help us with fine maneuvers. Go to the tanks category and add an FLR25 RCS fuel tank under the decoupler. So let's go to, no, fuel tanks. This one here. Your craft is not going to need all the propellant in the tank. I am not going to attempt that word again, so I apologize if I said that wrong. So to save some weight, right click on it to get to its parts option and move the slider down to 100 units. Okay. Monopropellant is called that because while large rocket engines use 2 propellants, fuel and oxidizer, RCS use a single propellant. RCS is generally less effective but is good for small velocity changes in any direction, rather than just forwards like the main engines do, and can be used to rotate the craft well as move it on. Okay, so 100. We'll be adding multiple liquid fuel tanks in this stage to get the right amount for the upper stage engine, and we need an extra tank to offset the weight of the RCS. So add a tiny rocket propellant tank. It's the one named FLT100 fuel tank, and then add a medium one, a FLT400 fuel tank below it. So the 100, then the 400. I would think we would need a decoupler between it, but anyway. Next, lastly, for the main parts of this upper stage, we'll add an engine. The interior engine produces almost no thrust at sea level air pressure, but is highly efficient in space and above 20 kilometers, where the atmosphere is thin enough to not interfere with the exhaust. This makes it a good choice for an upper stage since the engine will not be activated until the rocket has reached the conditions where this kind of engine works well. If you select the wrong engine, you can always throw it away and try again. Add a LV909 Terrier to the bottom of the tank. So there. Nicely done. That's a pretty well assembled upper stage, if I do say so myself. It'll get you to orbit if you put enough rocket under it. While we have this reasonably simple vessel here, let's explore one of the other useful tools we have available. Okay, so this is a bit long. I'm just gonna let you guys read it very shortly. If you guys want to pause it, I'm gonna read it, and yeah, you guys read it if you need to. Alright, so we've read that, and we're down to here. Click on the COM indicator toggle and we'll have a play. Here's a picture of it with the indicator highlighted. So this is the little icon down here, center of mass overlay. Currently, it looks like it's alright. Okay, let's adjust the fuel levels in some of the tanks and see how that affects the center of mass. Right click on each of the fuel tanks and drag the fuel and oxidizer down to 0. Don't touch the monopropellant levels, as they won't be burnt by the Terrier engine. As you are doing this, you will see the COM move during flight. The vessel's COM will move in the same way as it burns its fuel until the tanks are empty. Okay, so this one here, I'm guessing they're talking about. Okay, now go ahead and refuel the tanks and we can proceed to add some of the accessories to our upper stage. They'll transform it from merely something that gets us into orbit into something that helps us once we're out there. Okay, so full. Oh, I just disconnected it. Full. Now that you know where the COM is when the stage is full and when it is empty, and you have information you need to place the RCS Thrusters. The RCS Thrusters are found in the Command and Control category. Move the spaceship without rotating it. Rotating it is called translation. This is a useful kind of maneuver for several reasons, including docking to another craft. In order for translation with RCS to avoid unwanted rotation, you need to balance the thrusters around the COM, so the next sum of forces is balanced right on the this natural pivot point. For two equal sets of thrusters, each set should be equidistant from the COM, and for a single set, what we're doing here, they should be right around the COM itself. What makes this complicated is that the COM changes during flight, and as you just saw, so you need to place the thrusters at a compromised point between the wet COM and dry COM. Note that in career mode games, RCS thrusters don't become available until fairly late. In the meantime, the reaction wheel capability built into your command and pod will probably be enough for turning in space, though reaction wheels will not allow you to translate. Let's turn on angle snaps to manage angling the thrusters part easier. Do that by clicking on the toggle snap icon in the lower left or press the C key. Ensure we have 4 times symmetry turned on, and then place a set of 4 RV100 RCS thruster blocks on your upper stage. The tiny rocket propellant tank is about the right place to attach these, just in case you need a hint. Alright, we've done that, so next step. Lots of things on a craft use electric charge, EC. That's what us cool scientists call rocket electricity. In order to keep your batteries topped up, you will need a way of generating power. Now, some engines generate electricity while they're running, but you don't want to keep your engines running in orbit. Your orbit would get all kinds of messed up and you'll run out of propellant. Our command pod has some batteries built into it, but to be safe you can add more batteries, and you can add solar panels or other electricity generating items. We're going to do both. Switch to the electrical category now, and ensure we have angle snapped turned on and are still in 4 times symmetry mode. Okay, so electrical. Yep. We'll use our part rotation skills to adjust the panels before placing them. That's the WASD, Q and E keys we used earlier. Grab the OX stat solar panel, hold it over the lower end of the fuel tanks. Okay. Press A to rotate it 90 degrees. Then click to place a set of them. Now go ahead and place a set of... Okay, we'll do this first. So like that. Then we need to... on the lower end of the fuel tank. Okay, so this part here. A. Yeah, so like that. Right? Now go ahead and place a set of 4 Z100 batteries between the solar panels. Okay, kind of like that, I'm guessing. Excellent work. You've built a nice starter upper stage, which will do well for some audible exploration. Now we need to work on getting it up to orbit, and for that we'll build up our lower stage. In comparison to the upper stage, it's quite simple. Just a couple of tanks and an engine. That won't be enough alone, however, so we'll add some boosters too. Okay, add another TD12 stack decoupler on the bottom of the Terrier. Decoupler. Right there. We'll need this during our ascent to discard the empty parts of the vessel below. Oh, and notice how when you added the decoupler, a fairing is placed around the engine. This will get jettisoned up automatically when we stage the decoupler. Right. Now we need to add the fuel tanks for our lower stage. Add 2 of the medium rocket propellant tanks add to the bottom of the stack. Okay, so the FT 400s. 2 of them. For our lower stage, we need an engine that is a sustainer. That's an engine that burns from liftoff until well after the boosters separate. So add the big engine you see there, the LVT-45 swivel, to the bottom of the tank as your sustainer. This one. As its default thrust level, this swivel is too powerful for the rocket we've created, and for the ascent profile we're going to teach you in the Go for Orbit tutorial, which we'll be doing very shortly, guys. So if you guys want to skip, if you want to skip just to the orbital, the Go for Orbit tutorial, I put up on the screen right now, and I mean it, put it up on the screen right now, the time of where to skip to. Okay, guys, skip to that time if you want to go straight to the Go for Orbit tutorial and miss all this building construction material steps. So you'll need to lower its thrust level. This isn't as good as a solution as picking a small lighter engine with the thrust level we want, but well, there are only so many options. Right click the swivel and lower its thrust limiter to 65. Thrust limiter to 65, so 60 there. So 65, there we go. It will then only produce 65% of its full thrust potentially, but it will also run longer because it's only burning 65% as much fuel. Nice, you now have the core of the rocket completed, but as I said before, we'll also be adding boosters to help the sustainer engine get the rocket up and running. We'll add 2 boosters symmetrically, so that we keep our craft balanced, and to make sure we don't lug the useless dry mass of the boosters around after they burn out. We'll attach them using decouplers. This time, however, we'll use radial decouplers so the boosters can sit beside our lower stage core instead of under it. That way, the sustainer and boosters can fire at the same time. Select the TT38K radial decoupler and add it in 2 symmetry near the bottom of the lowest tank on the lower stage. Okay, so we need to put this into 2. Then the decoupler, this one. Okay, more boosters is something you often hear around the KSC, and I am still getting tripped out by that truck. That truck is still doing the damn bug. Okay, now I've got that off my chest. More boosters is something you often hear around the KSC, and now it's time to add some. Add a pair of RT10 hammer SRBs to the decouplers, so we have the extra kick early on. So I'm guessing the engines here. Unlike LF liquid fuel engines, where you can adjust the throttle during flight, once you light an SRB, it burns at constant thrusts until it runs out of fuel. We can, however, use the throttle limiter as we did on the swivel to set that constant thrust before we roll out to the launch pad. Right click on one of the SRBs and change its thrust limiter to 50. Do note that changing a tweakable value on one part that's been placed using symmetry will have that same change applied to its symmetry counterparts. Remember when I said I'd teach you how to make that pod and jumper craft from construction basic survivable? Well, this thrust adjust is how that could be done, although you'd also have to put a decoupler on it. Oh, the decoupler. Right, now the SRBs have flat pancake tops, which is simply not a good look. Oh, and bad aerodynamics. Bad aerodynamics. Bad aerodynamically. Let's fix that by adding a pair of nose cones. Nose cones can be found in the aerodynamics category, and you can add a pair of them using 2 times symmetry. Okay, so aerodynamics, here we go, this one. While we're on that tab in the toolbox, let's add some fins too. Fins come in various sizes and styles, and as we learned earlier, we will help stabilize your craft. Since these fins are control surfaces, they also add some extra control authority when low in the atmosphere. When the area is thick enough for them to have a helpful effect, add the AVR8 winglets in 4 times symmetry near the bottom of the lowest fuel tank in the lower stage, and make sure they don't intersect the decouplers and SRBs. If they do overlap those parts, and any flight will be interesting but exceptionally short. In 4, okay, so this is going to be looking like, this is actually looking like a weird rocket in a way. Oh, I feel really bad for that rocket right now. That's a bit better. I don't feel like I'm going to kill someone on the rocket. The actual shadow works really well with it though. It's really nice. Excellent. We've now got all the components on our basic orbital rocket, but let's run through a few extra things before we call it a day. Firstly, we should review the staging stack to check the order of actions and parts displayed there. It's luckily I've highlighted this for you because the SRBs are set to fire before the sustainers, and that just won't do. You won't have enough thrust to get off the pad that way. Move the swivel stage icon down into the same stage as SRBs. Note that the automatically created stages sequence would work if we did not want the long burning sustainer to ignite at the same time as the high thrust boosters. but since we do, we had to adjust it manually. Okay, so the stacking stage. Finally pick up the pod and rotate it 90 degrees around the vertical axis Q and E. This will rotate the ship, not just the VAB, but also set its rotation where we go to the launch pad, when we go to the launch pad, so that our desired flight heading of east, compass 90 degrees, will be a matter of steering in pitch up and down, rather than your left and right and left. By default, parts in the VAB are oriented so that they are aligned north. We always make every effort to ensure our brave crew survive, and hopefully you will take the same stance in your space program. It doesn't always work out that way, of course, but it's the thought that counts. Alright, so we're setting up now the abort action group to be able to use in case of emergency. Click on the Torquerized action group button on the left of the toolbar. It's part of the cluster of the 3 buttons. So, center of thrust. Alright, now what we've just done, so you guys know, I've just followed the instructions, played some music. Now, on the left hand side you see over here we've selected the abort command. That's the group that we've selected. Inside this group actions we've just selected a few different things like the engines, the decouplers, and those 4 things. So we've got the decouplers decoupling, and then the liquid fuels, the engines shutting down. So now when you trigger the abort action in flight, the engines will shut down, or if they can't shut down, be decoupled. The capsule will separate from the rest of the ship, and it should be safe to land by itself. Remember to deploy your parachute once it's safe. However, this may require staging a number of times, since the stage counter won't advance by itself when parts decouple before they are staged. And there we are. Your orbital rocket is ready to fly. It's been a long lesson, and thanks for hanging in there, in which we've covered lots of different advanced techniques for rocket construction. Give the new ship a name and save it. That's always a good practice. Then I recommend you try flying it in the Go for Orbit tutorial. Any vessels you create here will be lost when you exit. This is just for playing around. Alright, done. We're going to call this Orbit. And we're going to give a description. Going around the world. Alright, now we're going to go save, and we're going to go leave. Now, guys, I know this is quite a bit of a longer episode than normal, but we are going to go into the go for orbit, building off the prior flight tutorial. Gene Kerman teaches you how to achieve orbit with the vessel you built in the advanced construction tutorial. It's a big step. Now, guys, we will. What I'm going to be doing is, saying that, we're going to go for the go for orbit one. Now, we will do this, and it is a long episode. I'm going to say that now. This is a long episode, guys. If you've just come from that area that I was saying just before, you guys didn't miss much. It was just building stages, and I hope that you are not upset. But let's start into this, and let's go ahead. And just so you guys know, I was going to put in one part and then another part of this video. So, guys, we didn't split it up into two parts, but we did split it enough. Alright. Welcome. Today we will tackle an absolutely essential skill for any space program: getting to orbit. Without this skill, we might as well be teaching you Kerbal Flight Simulator. Well, this kind of is a Kerbal Flight Simulator. I trust you've already checked the other flight tutorials as well as the advanced construction. One to be familiar with, the Kerbal 1 vessel will be launching today. If not, I highly recommend you do so before going through this one. We've already gone through that. We were just going through that before. Now we're on to this. If you want to go back and try the others, then press escape and go to choose end scenario. Otherwise, press next and we'll proceed. Alright, flight plan. Alrighty then, let's do it. As I said before, the plan here is to get our vessel and pilot safely into orbit. As with the suborbital flight we did previously, we will follow a curved path to get to the point where we can circularize our orbit. Today's gravity turn, however, will be much shallower than the path we followed previously, so that we build speed towards orbit. This is different from how the Kerbal pilots of old did it. They would head straight up and then hang a right as if the air was a soup or something. We'll be turning early and smoothly, but don't turn too far or you might be mistaken for one of those low-flying turkeys. Yes, we don't want to be a low-flying turkey. I've heard about one of them happening, unfortunately. As with the previous flight, I will place a target map marker on the navball to show you the optimal velocity vector, but do note that this indicator won't be around normally and is not usually used the way this tutorial uses it. I'll also display some technical information about your path as you go to help you learn the right way to get there. For now, to set your throttle to the max, press Z and prepare for launch. Alright, Max, you now see the marker on the nav ball, so you'll have something to follow, and the ship has been designed so that you don't need to worry about throttle control during the ascent. Hit space when you're ready to go for orbit. If you want Valentina, the Kerbal pilot, to fly the curve for you, then you can enable SAS and set the module to target after liftoff. I don't know how to enable SAS again, so we probably won't do SAS. Is any of these SOA? Space and nope. Let me just key bindings, SAS toggle, SAS hold, SAS toggle is T. Okay. Resume flight. Space. SAS. Oh, here we go. Toggle SAS. Time to start pitching down. Follow that target marker. Don't worry about your throttle. Just need to pay attention to target marker and the proper times to stage. Whoa. Okay. Okay. So it seems like we need to abort, because apparently we're off course. We failed again, guys. We failed again. We failed in the last video, now we're failing again. We might as well just ditch this in the sea. We are a low-flying turkey. I say that again, we are a low-flying turkey. I feel sorry for this Kerbal one. Yep, nope. Revert flight. If you alright. Revert flight. Right, we're back up in the air. We're going to do this the correct way. Out of fuel in the SRBs, so get ready to eject them by staging. Hit them now. You're doing great. Whoa, they just exploded. Keep following the target indicator and get ready to stage again to discard the lower stage. We are doing this, we are getting up there, and stage now to get rid of the exhausted lower parts. Hit space. Oh shucks, something went wrong here, you're way off course. This one's a bit more difficult than I thought. I must do this a couple of times. I do apologise, guys, that this is taking so long. Stage again to ignite the upper stage engine. Okay. Excellent, you survived through the first stage of the launch and now have a longer, more gentle burn to accelerate through towards Polis. If you switch to map mode, press M, we can have a first look at a trajectory of the rocket and watch the Polis rise as we gain speed. Great, now we're not going to even get an orbit in. If you hover over the Polis node on the map, you are able to see the estimated high altitude. You can right click on that marker to pin it so that you can... Yep, okay. Cut the engine once the approximate hits 80 kilometers. And that's going to get us there. I've made sure the engine is shut off now and we'll coast till we're clear the atmosphere at 70 kilometers altitude. You may notice your speed dropping a little as we coast. That's nothing to be concerned about, it's just gravity. Okay, well, we will wait, I guess. And meanwhile, I'll keep an altitude display open so you can track your progress ascending to your Polis. Okay. What is this? Kerbal XX. Right, is this the ship that we have to get to, and that's who we are? Almost there. Now all we need to do is accelerate some more so that we can fall past Kerbal. That's basically what an orbit is, falling and missing. Gravity will be pulling us towards the center of Kerbal, but we'll be traveling so fast that we constantly miss. Rotate your craft to angle it with the prograde marker, we'll learn more about that later, or use SAS maneuver mode when it's time to throttle up. I'll tell you. Now throttle up or cut your engines once you've completed the burn. I've calculated for you, or you can yourself once you're in a stable orbit. Congratulations, you are now officially in orbit. That is quite the achievement. Hopefully you can see the difference between suborbital hop and this reaching orbital ascent, and just how far we turned. Also notice how we designed our rocket to accelerate reasonably though the ascent and didn't go straight to ludicrous speed. Powering the ship is a common rookie mistake. That's as far as I will be taking you today. We can catch up again in the Orbit 101 tutorial, where I will show you about orbits and adjusting them. If you want to fly solo for a bit, you can also try bringing Valentine home from this tutorial flight. You will need to turn around 180 degrees and burn, whatever that is, until your pressure is less than 20 k's. At which height the atmosphere will do most of the braking for you. Stage away from the upper stage when you hit the atmosphere's edge, order and turn renegade and re-enter like I taught you in Flight Basic tutorial, or simply choose end scenario from the pause menu and I'll see you later. So guys, I'll be ending it here, but guys, thanks for coming along and watching this video. I hope that you have a lovely day, night, wherever you may be whilst watching this video, and hopefully that we'll be able to, you'll see another video of mine soon. And I just did the wrong thing, but anyway, guys, I hope you have a wonderful, lovely day, and I hope that you enjoyed the video today, tonight, wherever you might be. Guys, don't forget to like the video if you liked it, dislike the video if you disliked it, share it with your friends if you want them to know about the video, even subscribe if you're liking my videos and you want more. Guys, also, if you would like, you can also give me some suggestions by commenting down below in the comment area of this video, or you can send them in by going to my website and clicking on give me a suggestion. Guys, thank you for coming along and watching this video, and guys, like I always say, take it easy.